I'm your host, Glenn Pooh Harding, and tonight we have a very special guest. We have one of the most experienced coaches in New York City. He coached at Manhattan College, St. John's University, Drexel University, and Tulane University. He's retired from college basketball now, but last year he served as the interim head coach at Bishop Loughlin High School. Allow me to introduce Coach Tony Chiles.
Y'all ready?
Yeah. You have just stepped out into the world of chaos. Where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online. Buy your tickets cause the game about to start.
There you go. What's up, my guy?
Man, I can't call it, man. How's everything, man?
Oh man, I'm blessed, and highly favored, man. I can't complain.
Same here, man. Same here.
That's right. I don't know if you got to see, I gave a little sneak peek to what I got drawn for you right here.
Yeah, I see that, man. That's dope, man.
Definitely, man. Definitely. That's what we like to do for our guests that come on the show.
I appreciate
All right,
it.
so
How's everything, man?
I'm good, man. I want to get right to business, man. I want to hold you too long. You know, it's beautiful,
Man,
beautiful
I'm
Monday.
AK all day, my little one, man. So I'm good, man.
Okay, cool. So I like to ask everyone who come on the show, first question is, who introduced you to the game?
Man, my father. Definitely. Man. My father was a really good player in North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina. Had my brother when he was a senior in high school, so he didn't go on to college, but I mean, he played in Pro Rucker, and you know, he's one of those guys that can shoot from just about the hash mark, man. And he's really, really physical, man, to beat up on people and stuff. So he introduced me to the game, man. From what they tell me, I was in the crib and I had the ball in my hand. For what they tell me.
Okay. So you was born for this.
I mean, I don't know if I was born for it, but he made sure I played, man.
Well, man, looking at the resume and what you accomplished, man, you know, Dad did right by you. You know what I'm saying?
No, listen, I mean, the game has done so much for me, man, so I can't complain about my journey, in all honesty.
All right. So was your dad your first coach as well?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I always played with older guys, because I mean, my brother's a couple of years older than me, and I played with older guys, but then as I moved along, I played for the Trotters, and I played for Riverside for a hot second, but then I ended up with the Sun Devils with Lamar Dyson, man. Shout out to the Sun Devils, man. I mean,
Sun Devils.
We were killing during the days, man. We had a crew.
Yeah, my partner, Larry Timberlake, Paco brother, he played for the Sun Devils. He always the big of the Sun Devils.
Nah, those my dudes, man. Pac, Mr. Screen like a second father to me, man. I mean, Sun Devils was, I mean, we just went through with a group of guys, man, and then once we all graduated, it kind of shut it down, but we were terrorizing people, man.
Wow, okay. So at that time when you was coming up, who was the best player in your neighborhood?
In my neighborhood? Well, I grew up in Highbridge, so, I mean, there was a couple of really good players, man. I mean, one guy that passed away while he was in high school, James Fojo Kuzar, was really, really good. Walter Berry from my neighborhood, Master Rob, John Morton. So there's a lot of dudes in my neighborhood up there in the hill.
Wow. So you basically go in your bag and pick a player, and they'll be good. You go anywhere in the city and do damage.
We had some real battles up there, man. I mean, the High Bridge, the west side, man, up on the hill, man. It was serious, man. It was serious.
Okay. So do you play ball in junior high school?
Yeah, I mean, I played. I mean, like I said, I played organized pretty much as long as I can remember, man. I went to junior high school, 145, a public school over on the east side, right off of Taylor Avenue, not too far from there, and played. But I mean, I played. I mean, my brother, like I said, my brother was a really, really good player. But then, I mean, he didn't kind of finish through with it, and that's a whole different part of my story. I don't know if you know who my brother is or not. Kevin Bowles.
Can you repeat that again?
My brother is Kevin Chiles.
Because I think you're buffering right now.
I said my
Can you
brother.
repeat what you said? I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me? I said
Yeah, I can hear you now. What you say?
My brother is Kevin Chiles, Don Diva Magazine.
Yes, definitely.
Northeast. That's my older brother, man. So he was really, really good. So we kind of played together. That's how I became a point guard, man. If I didn't give him the ball, he used to kind of beat me up a little bit. So that's how I learned to pass and get it to who needed to have the ball. Yeah.
Okay. So why not stay in the public school, and why did you go to Catholic school route?
I tell you the truth, when I was growing up, I mean, my family, we didn't really have a whole lot of money. So, you had to pay to go to Catholic school in middle school. But as I got a little older and people started to realize I could play a little bit, a few schools recruited me, Talentine, St. Ray's, and I ended up going to All Hallows, which was kind of my neighborhood school. And I actually went there because of another guy from my neighborhood, Troy Truesdale, TNT, played on
definitely. Troy Truesdale.
That was my dude, man. So he was God, rest in peace, but he was 4 years ahead of me. So I used to go watch him when I was in 8th grade. So him, and actually everything goes full circle with me, ironically. The point guard on his team was Ed Gonzalez, who's the coach.
Right.
And Ed, so I used to go and watch Ed play, and Ed's senior year, he's like, yo, man, you come here, man, we'll give you the ball, man, it's your ball, and you kind of continue the tradition. And that's kind of that's how I ended up going to All Hallows.
Wow. Man, ain't nothing like keeping with tradition, right?
Tell me about it, man. Ed is my son's godfather, man. So that just shows you how deep we go, man. Yeah.
That's dope. So who are some of the guys that was in your team? Well, first of all, my bad. Did you go to the regular Catholic school route or playing freshman, JV, then varsity?
I played freshman, and then I got moved up the middle of my JV year. But it was back then. You didn't really get moved up unless you was like one of those guys. And I would never say I was that, but I got moved up late my sophomore year. That's when Odin Polynice was a senior. So I got moved up like the middle of the season, my sophomore year when Odin was a senior. And we lost in the semifinals to Kenny Smith and Malloy.
And they wound up losing to St. Peter's. Did they want to lose to St. Peter's?
Yeah, Kenny Smith blew out his Achilles or something crazy happened.
Yeah.
The championship game, and they ended up losing to St. Peter's that year. Yeah.
And that's the only time I think a St. Staten Island team won a state championship.
As long as I can remember, I'm sure something back in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, but
no, that was the only one. There's a small documentary. There's a small documentary on YouTube that celebrates that team.
Yeah, they were good. They had Greg Pedro, I think the kid's name was. That was the senior. He
He the one that gave them problems.
Yeah, they had a good team, man. They just they fell into the right situation at the right time, and and Kenny went down the end of the first quarter, and the rest was history.
All right, my guy Larry, he wanted me to go back to Sun Devils. He said go back to small fry Sun Devils. He was on the team with Stu Barnett, Paco Skeeto, and Boogie Mike.
We lost in the championship game in Racine, man. I'll never forget that, man. We was killing that whole time. Actually, we would have won it, but Paco didn't cut his hair, man. He was, like 5'1" and under. So Paco had like afro, and when they measured him, man, he was like a half an inch too big, and they didn't let him play. Man, we ended up losing the championship. It was me, Larry McCullough, me, Larry McCants. Who else was on that team? Oh man, me, Larry McCants. No, Larry McCants was too tall. Paco played, and my man that went to Xavier from Hayes, man. We had a nice crew. We had a real good team. We lost in the championship game, man. That's when they always ask you, man, the one that you wanted to get back, man. That's one that I did, and I was 12, so that tells you how much it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen, and you gotta love the game for something to affect you at 12 years old. You still remember it, right? Like some people just let those things go, but when you really love the game and you're passionate about it, those losses hurt.
It's about 4 or 5 games that I either coached or played in that I wish I had another shot at, and that was one. And that was
definitely. Same here. Definitely. So who was in your team once you got, besides Odin Polynice? Like, who was on your team once you got involved?
My junior year was Richie Simmons and Antoine Ford. Richie led the city in scoring. He averaged about 30 a game. It it went hand in hand. He led the city in scoring. I led the city in assists. I had
Yeah.
about 12 assists my junior year. All I did was pass the ball and he got buckets. So I was smart. I knew we could score. I knew we could put it in the basket. But Rich could really
Right.
really score. We had another kid on that team that could really shoot. It went to the Dominican. I think he's like a top 3 scorer in Dominican's college history. Tony Bimbo, man, was a really good shooter. So we had him and Rich, man, and we had Antoine Ford inside. So I kind of picked my poison. That's one thing that I was always good at. I was always good at leading the team and getting guys the ball when they needed to get it and where they needed to get it. So if I had some weapons, I could do some damage.
Down Walker wasn't on that team?
Well, Power Memorial closed that year.
Okay.
My junior year. And then that's when I knew I'd be a good recruiter in college because I went and got him, Skeeter, and Yada. And they came my senior year and we won the whole thing. Yeah. And he
okay.
He said, Tony, you came and got me. But we played Power that very last game ever played there. I'll never forget it. That's another one of those games I wish I got back. It was a blizzard outside, man. It was snowing like cats and dogs. We thought that they were going to cancel the game, but it was the last game ever to be played there. All kind of media and everyone was there. And I'll never forget, on the jump, I looked at Richie Simmons' eyes, and we looked at the rest of the team's eyes, and they were scared to death. I mean, it was like to the rafters. Every news reporters, because, I mean, you know, Power Memorial closing, it was like a historic game. And I looked at Rich, I said, man, it's going to be a long night, man. They beat the brakes off us. They always give me a hard time. Me and D. Walker go back AAU back 10, 11 years old.
Right.
Just at his house over the weekend he had a birthday party. He give me a hard time. He said, we beat the brakes off. I was like, yeah, you never lying, man. You never lying.
Oh man, I would love to get D Walker on here, man. Remember battle with him his later years before he left to go to college. Yeah.
I'll make that happen.
Yeah.
2-3 times.
So
that's my dude.
This is crazy, man, because Power Memorial closing was similar to the Alexander Hamilton closing as far as the amount of players it produced that left.
100%.
Right?
100%.
We can just count on the amount of Division I prospects and great players who came from those 2 schools.
Listen, Hamilton closing kind of was the resurrection of Lincoln. And Power closing was kind of opening the door for schools like St. Raymond's and stuff like that. Because prior to that, man, I mean, it was Power and talent time, you know. And then, you know, with you guys was, you know, Hamilton and, you know, whoever else was running with them that year, you know.
Right. Man, listen, I came up hearing about Alexander Hamilton. But by the time I got to high school, they was already closed. Right? So you just heard about the names. And I remember right after I interviewed Ray Haskins and in between Jerry Ice Reynolds' interview, I watched the game on YouTube between Alexander Hamilton and Ben Franklin. You ever seen that game?
I was there with Gary Spring and all of them. I was there. Gary, my man. I speak to Gary on a regular basis.
You was at that game?
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about the Ben Franklin in New York. I'm talking about the Ben Franklin in Philly, the one that was on television.
No, I thought you were talking about when they played when Gary Spring and Richie and played against Alexander Hamilton. No, I wasn't at the one in Philly.
No, so tell me about that game, because listen, you're the only person I know that was there besides Coach and Jerry.
Well, I wasn't at the one when they played Philly. I was when they played.
No, New York. We talking about New York. For those people who want to go check that game, the Alexander Hamilton versus the Ben Franklin High School in Philadelphia is on YouTube. It's only like 22 minutes, but it's great basketball, right? So now, Tom, give me a story about the game.
I wasn't at that game. I was at the New York City.
Yes, the New York Ben Franklin. Yes.
I mean, I just remember. I mean, I was in awe of the talent because I mean, you know, big. Wendell was like, I mean, he's 6'7", man, he's like a guard, man. And then Gary Springer just jumped all over the place. Richie Adams blocked every shot she put up, and then they had Kenny Hutch, who was like amazing. I mean, it was like that's when New York City basketball was ridiculous, man, because now you can win a city championship with 1, maybe 2 Division I players. Then you had like high level players, man. That went on to college that just destroyed people, man. I mean, if Gary Springer's knees don't give out, I mean, I tell people this to this day. His son is really good. Jaden, who's going to Tennessee, he's McDonald's All-American. I tell people that if guys were going from high school back then, he would have been a first-round draft pick because he was just ridiculous what he could do on the floor. People forget how
Wow.
good Gary Springer was, man.
Wow, that's crazy. I heard about these guys, the Kenny Hunts. I actually played with Richie Adams, but this is his later years Pro-Am in Virginia. But he was still blocking everybody's shot dead, right?
People forget that year. That was 2 years before I graduated, and there was 4 guards that came out of New York City that was just bananas, man. I mean, you had, let's put it this way, in everyone's mind, Mark Jackson was the 4th. You had Pearl, Kenny Smith, Kenny Hutch, and Mark Jackson. And I mean, that's ridiculous, man. You're never gonna have. I mean, all 4 of those guys were pros at one level.
That's right.
It was really, really good, man. Really, really, really good. You know.
Wow. Worldwide shout. I'm going to get Gary on the line. Who's Gary? Who you talking about, man?
He talking about Gary Springer.
Gary Springer. Okay. Oh, shot. That'll be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I did my man. He was something special, man. Something special.
That's dope. So who you play AAU with?
Well, with my AAU team going up and down, at one point the Gauchos came over with us. So at one point our guards were me, Mike Thornton, his brother Tip, Rod Strickland, Ty Joy, Dedrick Irvin, John Morton, Paco Screen. That was we had so many guards that we.
I was about to say, like, got a whole team of guards.
We split 2 teams and we met the championship just about every tournament. So it was crazy. And if you weren't on your game, I mean, like I knew when I got in the game, if I didn't do something, I might not play no more. Because I mean, literally, that was 8 high-level basketball players, man. And they were, I mean, like we had so many guards, we had 2 or 3 teams.
And the competition was so fierce back then, you know, and only having 3 like really AAU teams back then was like the Broncos, Gauchos, and Riverside. Yeah. And you know, they had a few more, Brooklyn, USA, but those main 3, if you didn't make those 3.
Yeah, that could be. And when we kept our group together, we rocked with those guys on a regular basis, man. So it was a different time. I tell people, like, I'm the first to admit this. I was okay, but I wasn't that good. But I knew that if I didn't really play, I was going to get destroyed. Because I mean, I didn't think guys like Gerald Green was in my year, Boo Harvey, Glenn Grant, John Morton, Rod Strickland. I mean, Paco was a year younger than us. I mean, it was ridiculous, man. I mean, like, if you didn't play, this was every game, and everybody had somebody that if you didn't really, John Johnson, I mean, Benji and all those guys in town, I mean, these guys, we were all right in that same area, man. So I tell people I was glad to just survive and get through it, man. Truth be told.
Man, listen, if your name is even mentioned among those guys, you held your own.
My name ain't mentioned too often, but they can play.
Well, listen, let me tell you something. You on here, because before you got here, your name used to be popping up on the screen, like, you know, what's up, Tony Chiles, what's going on? So, you know, people definitely remember.
I appreciate it. But if I didn't above my shoulders didn't work, I wouldn't have been a basketball player. I know I couldn't run with it, you know, guys, and I couldn't jump with it. Lord,
right.
That, you know.
All right. So that year, y'all won the city championship. The state championship. Who y'all beat in the city and who y'all beat in the state?
Well, it's funny, like, because in the Catholic, you know, you got to play those divisions. You got to play Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and we actually got destroyed in the Bronx, Manhattan by St. Raymond's with Gary Massey that went to Villanova. They beat the brakes off of us. They about like 30 in the semifinals of the Bronx, Manhattan. And my coach, and anybody knows, like, I have to tell people, it's funny that I became a coach because I really didn't get along with any of my coaches outside of my AAU coach. I was an asshole. I was paying ass. You know what I mean? I knew the game. I knew the game. So I would question everything. So we got our doors beat off by St. Raymond's. I'll never forget it. Coach Carey called me into his office. And I tell people the stories. I tell my son and everybody. I said, he called me into his office. We didn't have practice. He sat me down and said, Tony, listen, man. I'm tired of this shit with you, man. He said, I'm really tired. He said, either you play the way that I know you can play, and we win it all, or you don't, and you just another guy that came through this building. So he left. I thought he went to the bathroom. So I'm sitting there 20 minutes, 30 minutes thinking because he really got to talk to me. I turned around. He went home, man, left me in the office by myself. I said, oh, man, this is crazy. But, you know, but that resonated with me, man. I said, you know what? We got a chance. I mean, that year was stacked. We had a chance. I said, you know what, man? instead of just fighting with this guy, man, I'm going to kind of just do what we got to do to win. Even if I agree or disagree, I'm going to do whatever we give ourselves a chance. And we had a couple of lucky breaks. I mean, we beat Christ the King. Actually, we beat St. Raymond's to go to the championship. After they beat us the week before by 30, we beat them by like 6 to go to the championship. We beat Christ the King with Brian Rawls, Tony DaCosta, and those guys. We beat them.
Tough.
Then back then you had to play a down game. So we played Long Island Lutheran, I want to say it was, and they had one of the Matt Doherty, I think, was on that team. We won that on the tipping at the buzzer. My man Eric Alvarado came off the bench and tipped it in to save us. Then we went upstate. In the first game, we beat Jackson. We beat Harvey, those guys. And then we beat, in the championship, we beat King.
Hold on. Because we got a Jackson guy in the building. He played for Granby, right? So please, we need to say that again so he hear that. He got his headphones on. He just right when he heard Jackson.
They had no answer from Big Dow, man. We just threw the ball inside, man. They had no answer. And we beat King Rice in Binghamton in the championship game, which was a controversial game, actually.
Speak on that, because we lost to King Rice in the state championship that next year, and I think they made sure they was going to win because we hold on for 1 second, hold your thought. We beat Kenny Anderson in the first night overtime, then we beat Long Island Lutheran, I'll say Lutheran, and double overtime, right? So we played Kenny and them at like 8 o'clock. Next game we played 8 o'clock. That Sunday they had us play 12:30.
Yeah, I can see them doing that. Well, I got a backdrop story for you. Most people know those guys on my team. Binghamton sent their cheerleaders to our room the night before the game.
Yo, hold on. Tell about they did that shit to us.
Yeah.
And I told my guys don't fall for that shit.
Nah, we fell for it. I ain't gonna lie. We had party in rock.
Wow. They did the same shit to us.
So we came out real sluggish, man. And then made a run, got back in the game. So it was a tie ball game. And I forgot, one of the guys drove the lane. And the kid outright came over down Walker's back. Like legitimately came over his back, fouled him. The ref didn't call the foul. The kid tips it, hits the backboard, the horn goes off, it goes in. They say no basket. So realistically, the tipping, like they would have beat us, but the guy didn't call the foul. So had he called the foul, we'd have been shooting free throws. So he like let him win. So they waved it off, and we end up beating them in overtime. But it was about, I want to say maybe 8 or 10 seconds to go in the game, and we're up. We were up by 1, and I got fouled. I hit 2 free throws. They turned the ball over, and this goes back to like me and Coach Carey. You'll love this story. So at that point, they didn't have a 3-point line. So I see the team was about 6 seconds to go. We got the ball out of bounds. Everybody's going crazy, celebrating. And I'm like, like I said, my mind is always working. I said, wait a minute. There's nowhere in the world they can win this game. Because back then, if the ball went in, 5 seconds, keep going. So dude's pressure, he's all over the place trying to get a steal. I handed him the ball and ran off the court. So Coach Carey came to find me. He said, you little, you had to be an asshole to the end. I'm like, yeah, but I'm the only point guard.
Hold on. Say that again.
We were up by 1. I got fouled. I hit 2 free throws to ice it. We up 3 now. They threw the ball out of bounds. So it's like 6 seconds to go. So we know we're going to win. So the guy's trying to get a steal. So I just handed the ball right to him. I gave it to him in the chest.
Because they got to go to the length of the court.
But they can't win anyway. Because even if the ball goes in, we're not taking it out. Game's over. So I'm like, game's over.
Wow.
So I took the ball out. I literally put it in his chest. And the guy was like, look crazy in the face. We ended up winning. Coach Carey voted this. I said, you just had to be an asshole to the end. I was like, hey, Coach, I'm the only point guard that ever got you a championship, man. So
that was smart, right?
And, like I said, the thing about my shoulders works every once in a while, man. So that team, that group to this day, man, we were really, really close. Actually, it's the 35th year we were going to get together, but then this whole pandemic thing came about. But I mean, to this day, man, that group, man, we all tight, man. We all speak to each other and see what's going on in each other's lives, and and so that was a special team. We came together at the right time.
Wow. So after that game, what schools came knocking on your door?
I tell you the truth. I mean, I didn't get recruited by a ton of guys. My recruitment was weird. I got recruited by the Ivy League because I had grades. I got recruited by Manhattan, Fordham a little bit, Georgia Tech a little bit, and Siena. But I knew I wanted to go to an Ivy League school. I knew I wanted to go to an Ivy. Actually, Bobby Crimmins helped me decide that I wanted to go to Ivy League school. Because back then, that's when Georgia Tech had like 6 really good players and 3 or 4 guys that they would put in if they had to. I could have been one of those guys. Bobby Crimmins was an alum from O'Hallows. So when he came to sit down and talk to me, he said, I hear that you got, some really good grades. I hear Ivy League schools are looking at you. I was like, yeah. He said, well, I tell you the truth. He said, if you can get into one of those schools, if I'm you, I'd go there. And I was like, well, why? He said, well, do you think you're a pro? I was like, nah. He said, well, if you told me you thought you were a pro, I'd tell you it's the place to go. He said, but if you don't think you're a pro, I think if you go to one of those schools 30 years from now, my players are going to be coming to you for a job. That resonated with me. That makes sense. And that's really what made me decide that I wanted to go to Ivy School. Yeah.
That's crazy. My cousin who passed away, God rest his soul, Zachary Husser, played for Columbia.
Yeah,
right? He played football and basketball. When I was coming up, I thought I was the first one in my family, to go to school, get a scholarship, and graduate. Come to find out, my cousin, he was the first one in the family to do it. And father raised him not knowing how to read, right?
God bless him.
His father didn't know how to read. He used to make him do his homework over and over and over. And my cousin,
my father was the same way. My father taught himself to read when he was in jail, man.
Look at that. And God succeeded.
And there you go, works yourself out, man. So I can't complain at all, man. Yeah.
All right, Tom. Here's another question we ask everyone. Who ass did you bust to let you know you was ready to go?
Well, I'm a turnaround. I wouldn't say whose ass I bust. I would say
everybody run away from that question.
Who didn't bust my ass? I would say who didn't bust my ass. I was like, this motherfucker kind of nice, and I hung with him. And Strick, Rod Strickland. Like Rod, it's fun. A lot of people don't know. Rod went to Rice for a year and maybe a week and a half. And we played freshman. Well, we played with each other, but like we played our freshman team. I think he might have like 35, and I might have had like 22 or something. And I was like, I always thought I could play, but I knew he was really, really good. I knew he was really, really good. And I was like, damn, if I can kind of, hold my own. I mean, he crushed me, but he didn't crush me like like I thought he should crush me. So I realized that I could hang with anybody after playing against Rod at a young age. And Rod ended up leaving Rice his sophomore year because they didn't want him to play Boston.
And what year you was in when you played against Rod?
This was 81, maybe our freshman year. 81.
And you had 22?
And he had like 35 or something like that. I mean, he got at me, but I mean, we were going back and forth.
Bruh.
I mean, it was freshman though. I mean, a bunch of
I know. Oh, he was a freshman too, you said?
Yeah, he freshman. Yeah, we same year.
Okay. Yeah, he bust your ass. Yeah, I see that.
He did, but I was like, you know what?
Right.
40, man, they ain't giving nothing. I'm like, I'm kind of all right. I think I'm be all right.
So is there anybody that you, besides Rod, that you went up against? You was like, yeah, I got the best of them.
I mean, some games, yeah, and some games, no. I mean, like I said, back then it was just, it was a different game every day, man. Like a guy, a guy that gave me a lot of trouble, man. It really gave me a lot of trouble that people don't really put up there and talk about as being like a great guard in New York City. It was great. Glenn Grant, man. Glenn Grant, they went to Iona. He was at Spelman, man.
What? Say his name again?
Glenn Grant. He went to Iona, man. He could really, really, really score, man. Quick first step. He always gave me a hard time, man. Like always, man. Always gave me a hard time. Other guys, we went back and forth. Like I really had to be on top of my game, or he was just going to destroy me. And I could never figure it out, man. But he was good. He was really good.
Your man, Morseman 15 said, "Stop being modest."
That's my little homie Doug. What's up, man?
Yeah.
Stop it, man.
The guys know you. So, how was your time at Columbia?
I mean, I tell you the truth, man. I loved it, man. I loved it for a couple of reasons. One, I just got a chance to meet different people from different places in the world by still being at home. Because Columbia had guys from everywhere. I had roommates from Florida, Houston, San Francisco, Cleveland. I mean, I had guys from all over the place. And, I would go to their cribs for the spring break and stuff like that. I just had a chance to see how other people lived. and experience those type of situations without having to leave home. And people don't realize when you get on Columbus campus, it's almost like you're in a whole other world. So the only time I would go home is if I need to get some laundry done or if I need to get a home cooked meal. But outside of that, I felt like I was away at school. So I mean, I really enjoyed myself there, man. I really did. I met a lot of good people. To this day, I'm doing business with guys and things like that. So the reasons that I went there, I think, came to fruition and kind of put me in a position where I can kind of pick and choose the things I want to do with my life now.
Yeah. He said Pete Nice was there with
Yeah,
Tom from third base.
He came in the same year I did. And it's funny because I remember him and Serge used to always come by and give me tapes. Because, my brother, like I said, my brother was getting money, man. He was a big time hustler. And he would always give me tapes. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And they were talking this his whole 4 years. And I remember I'll never forget, he had to fly in from the Arsenio Hall show to get back from graduation, man. So I was like, hey, him and that corny looking other white dude, man, they kind of figured this thing out, man. But there's a lot of different dudes came through there, man.
Yo, let me tell you, on the Empire State team I played on, when I was the youngest guy on the team, Derek Chivas, Boo Harvey, Ross Strickland, Dal Middleton, Dwayne Shake Martin, Eric Brown, and Pete Knight, right?
Yeah.
Pete used to show us. Pete used to have a phone book showing us like LL Cool J, Russell Simmons, and we was like, nah.
That's exactly how we
was like, nah. Then the next, if you look at the third base first album, he had the whole team on the back of the album.
I can see that. But he's that type of dude, man. Like me and Pete, we still rap, we talk from time to time. They're good dude, man. Real good dude. I tell everybody.
Tell him I said what's up when you speak to him.
I will, definitely. I tell everybody that they thought the cane was a part of this whole act. But like he really blew out his ankle when he was a sophomore at Columbia, and then he had to walk around with a cane, and he kind of took that and it kind of became part of his whole thing with third base.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. Father coached me when I played high school at Empire. I knew his brother Brian. Is his brother Brian still down at IMG?
Yeah, he pretty much run it down there, man. He was smart. He got out of the coaching game, man, and found him a nice gig down there, man.
Let me tell you something, man. I need to holler at my guy Brian, man, because look, he made his way through this coaching thing, man, and listen, he found himself a home right now.
Yeah, I ain't mad at him, man.
Not at all. I'm not mad at him. So if you speak to that brother, I'm going to try to get in contact with myself, man. Love that brother, man.
That's one thing, man. I always stay in contact with dudes, man. Like I never take myself too serious with this, man. Because I know the game saved my life, man. So anybody that I met through my times who come through this, man, I try to stay in contact with, man, and help if I can.
Definitely. And this is why I want to build this platform, right? To give guys like ourselves, our basketball fraternity in New York City, those guys who had an impact in any kind of way. You could have been coaching, could have been running tournaments, grassroots programs, camp for kids, whatever it is. And we got to start writing our own story, right? Everybody's always presenting our story for us. And
Lamar Dyson definitely helped save my life, man. Because I could have went the same route that my brother went. And obviously he did time and got out, but it could have been a whole different situation, man. So I'm very appreciative. And to tell you the truth, that's why I kind of got into coaching, man, to kind of help kids, man. Because I know there's a million people running around like I was that could have went either way, man. And just being able to talk with somebody that kind of went through it and got to the other side, man, can be very influential in saving somebody's life and putting somebody in the trajectory as opposed to, getting killed or in jail or doing something they ain't got no business doing. So,
Definitely, man. Same here, man. Just all about trying to, teach the next generation to be better than what we were.
100%, man. 100%.
So you got into coaching because the love, right? How did you break into coaching?
I got into coaching by mistake. True. Well, I graduated, and I tell the story whenever I'm on a podcast. Most people, they don't know my story. Like my mother got killed February of my senior year in college.
Yes.
Drug related, thing, but I never forget something in January of that year. It was right around my birthday, and she's like, what do you want to do when you finish? I was like, man, I'm going to go down to Wall Street, man, and make a whole lot of money. She's like, you know what? I think you'd be a real good teacher, coach. I'm like, man, no shot, man. They don't make enough money. I'm not going to Columbia, man, sit around, get paid $40,000 a year, so you know, it's that another thing. So when I graduated, I worked down in Wall Street. I worked for Northwestern Mutual, and I did like financial portfolios for guys for about a year and a half, made decent money. But I just didn't like what I was doing, man. I just kind of felt empty, for lack of a better term. So I went and talked to one of my mentors, a guy named Walter O'Hara, who actually just passed away right around the end of February this year. And he said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I have no idea. He said, well, why don't you go back to O'Hallows, teach a few classes to help Coach Carey out until you figure out what you want to do. So I did that. Now, I take my time at O'Hallows when I was coaching, I had a ball, man. I had a bunch of great kids. They're all doing well now, man. I'm godfather to their kids and all that. And one kid in particular, named was Tariq Thacker, who, ironically, when I graduated from O'Hallows, Walter O'Hara paid my tuition. So you know, it's time to give back, pay it forward. So this kid was the kid that I paid his tuition for 4 years. So when I went back to O'Hallows, he was a senior. I had paid 4 years up in advance. So I coached him as a senior, and he was a recruitable athlete. He was getting recruited by like most of the max of A-10 schools. And Fran Fraschilla came in and sat down with him to recruit him. And I grilled Fran. I was like, man, what happens if he gets hurt? You got a point guard in front of him. You know, where you going to play him? So like, I really kind of got at Fran. And at that point, Fran was like an up-and-coming hot coach. Like, he was the next Calipari, for lack of a term. And once we finished talking about Tariq, he called Coach Carey and said, you know, what do you think Tony want to do? You think he want to get in college coaching? And he's like, man, Tony, he has no idea. He's just kind of trying to figure it out. So he said, you know, I want to talk to him. So I interviewed for a job. I legitimately went there to turn the job down. Because I was like, man, NCAA is a bunch of hypocrites. They use these kids, set up, you know, all that. And Fran sold the shit out of me. He like really did a good job. He sat there and said, listen, I think you have great rapport with these kids. I said, I know you know basketball, so you know the whole the logistical parts of it, you can learn that and shit, but I think you'll be pretty good. He said, you know, do me a favor. He said, give it a shot for a year. If you don't like it, dust your Ivy League degree off, go back down to Wall Street, make a shitload of money. And he said, I think, you know, you'll do well. And I had a 24-year run, so, you know, he knew what he was talking about. You know,
Wow.
But that was never my plan. It was never my plan to be a coach. Never. Like I said, I didn't get along with any of my coaches, in all honesty.
So you started out at Manhattan?
I started in Manhattan with Fran. I coached there with him for 1 year, and then he left and went to St. John's. I stayed in Manhattan with a guy named John Leonard for 2 years, and me and him didn't really vibe. So I actually quit. And then Jeff Ruling got the job at Iona. And me and Jeff have been cool for years, so I went over there with him, and we actually made some history. I mean, the run that we had at Iona was really, really good. Man, we were the first team in the MAC to go back-to-back in 20 years. Like, so, I mean, we had a crew, man. We had Tariq Thacker, we had Tariq Kirksey, Diary Wilson, Courtney Fields, Marvin McCullough, Ricky Sullivan. I mean, we had a crew, Greg Jenkins, Dakia Miller. I mean, we had some really, 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 really good players there. And we went back-to-back there. And then I actually got fired. Like, they wanted to get rid of Jeff. And he had a 10-year deal because we did so well. So they said, well, you ain't going to leave, going to get rid of your staff, thinking he would leave. So when I got fired from there, I went down to Drexel. Because I wanted to work for a black coach. So I went down there and worked with Bruiser Flint at Drexel. We had a good run there, too. We had a ton of New York City kids down there. Guys that did really, really well and was doing well for themselves right now. And then I got on with Steve Lavin at St. John's. And there for 5 years, I mean, people say we were bad, but I'm looking back, our 5 years, we had 3 20-win seasons. We had the number 3 recruiting class in the country, the number 8 recruiting class in the country, then signed the number 1 point guard back-to-back years. The only year we didn't play in postseason was the 1 year that Lav sat out when he had cancer. So we went to 2 NITs, 2 NCAAs, and got fired. They brought Chris back. So when got fired at St. John's, I went to Florida for 1 year with Jeff Neubauer. Me and him just didn't see eye to eye, so I left there. And then I was down to Tulane for 3 years with Mike Dunleavy. So that's pretty much my run in college with different guys. But it's ironic. The 2 places where I thought I did the best job, I got fired. You know,
Wow.
I only St. John's. I thought I did my best job at Iona and St. John's. Got fired from both, so it just shows you, man. I mean, it's a crazy business, man. Crazy business.
Wow. Most man said you made history at Manhattan. Make him tell you he's being modest. What kind of history you guys made at Manhattan?
I mean, this is the guys I recruited there. I mean, kid Darrell Brown was like number 2 or 3 in All-Star. He was my first recruit. I recruited another kid, Boone Lane, who was like top 5 in assists.
Wow.
So I mean, every place I've been, I've recruited guys that are in the history books. Like at Iona, Steve Burke Jr. is number 2 all-time leading scorer. Marvin McCullough is top 3 assists. Kerr Washington is top 5 rebounding. Tons of 1,000-point scores. Tons of guys who went overseas. So, I mean, everywhere I went. I mean, at St. John's, we recruited Mo Hawkins, who got drafted. We had Don Pointer, who got drafted. At Drexel, at Jamie Harris was all league. We had, I mean, Courtney Field. I mean, everywhere I've gone, we've had really, really good players, man. So, and more importantly, those guys are doing well in life right now.
Wow. Listen, your resume speaks for itself, brother. And the amount of kids that you're turning out and turning into successful adults. You just give them a pathway so they can do it on their own. But of course, you have your hand in molding them, man. So salute to you.
And that's 100% what it's about. I always tell people, I mean, it's funny. For years, I would say, man, people say, well, Tone, what do you want to do? Obviously, I wanted to be a head coach, and that didn't work out. But I said, man, I'm going to do this thing until, I feel I'm not relevant. In the last few years, the game started to change, and, coaches didn't want guys. They just wanted guys to get players. They didn't want guys to have relationships. So it kind of changed for me. So once it changed, I'm like, man, I never did it because I had to. I did it because I wanted to. You know what I mean? So I got out. But, for me, it was always, I knew that there was not going to be one kid that I couldn't relate to. I mean, like I said, most people don't know my story, but, like I said, my mother got killed my senior year in college. 2 years later, my father got sentenced to 105 years. He ended up getting out about 12 years later. And then 2 years after that, my brother got arrested, and he was the second person in the history of the United States that they tried to give natural life to. So within a 5-year span, I went through more shit than most people go through. So I'm figuring, any kid that's going through something or had to deal with something, I can relate to it. And I think that's what made me effective, and that's what made people comfortable with entrusting their kids to me, because they knew I never lied to them. I always kept it 100 with them. And if something went down, they knew I would be there and be in their corner and be there for them. You know what I mean? And that's I pride more so than even being a head coach. I take more pride out of what these kids have become. Like, I'm really good friends with a lot of the kids that I coach. And every kid I've been in contact with, there's no one like, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's one kid that I've ever come in contact with that got a bad thing to say about me, because I always treat them fair. Always treat them fair.
That's the strength of a strong coach, right? Somebody who's solid, all 10 toes down, and the kid could see that. And then once you turn into an adult, you realize, you have somebody to model yourself after.
Life lessons. I always told people, I said, you know what? My loyalty was to the kids first, the program second, my career third. And it always was in that order. I mean, and I have no regrets to anything that I've done in this business. One way or another.
And with all the chaos that's going on, losing your mom, your brother being in the streets, facing a life sentence, how do you manage to graduate valedictorian?
Well, you know how they say you don't know things are crazy until you get a chance to step back and look at it? That's just what it was. I didn't see it as out of the norm because that was my norm. That's what was going on. It was kind of like, and I tell my kids to this day, like my own personal, because I have 3 sons, I tell them, listen, it's not about what happens, it's about how you deal with it. Life can go crazy, but tomorrow the sun gonna come up and you still gotta do what you gotta do in your classroom or for your family. And so it's not about what happens, man, because, I tell a story, man. It's a hero and a coward go through the same realm of emotions. Everybody, man, something's about to happen right now. And which way you gonna be? Are you gonna be somebody that kind of run and hide, or you gonna be somebody that runs to the fight? And that's a choice. Like, that's a choice. And I've always chosen to try to keep a level head and just try to do the right thing, by people and not fear away from situations because you can only control what you do.
That's real. That's real. What kind of grades do you have to be like valedictorian? Trust me, I wasn't nowhere near
Yeah,
there.
when I graduated from All Hallows, man, and I tell people, wasn't a whole lot of people in my graduating class, but I had like a 97 average.
Dang.
And I had like a 1250, 1260 on that 60s.
That's crazy.
Like I said, the thing about my shows is work every once in a while.
So, what's your perception of New York City basketball right now?
Now, you know what? You said something earlier that's going to weigh into my answer. There were only 3 really good teams back in the days. Now, everybody that thinks somebody can play, get a team and put a bunch of bums around them. So these kids don't really learn how to compete. You know what I'm saying? Like we competed in practice because I knew that if them 8 guards that I mentioned earlier, I might not play. So it wasn't a matter of me getting an attitude because you're not putting me in the game. I had an attitude of myself because they're killing me. So now you got one guy, you got 5 guys that are going to play soccer somewhere. Back then, man, we had on my AAU team, man, we had 13 dudes go to Division I. And we all played on the same team. So it was about competition. It was about you weren't playing against the other team. You were actually playing against the game. That's the way we looked at it. We were just trying to be better and compete. And now it's just, a kid gets mad, he go play for somebody else. And the biggest difference that I see is not necessarily the game. I think it's more so the coaches. They let kids get away with too much. And I realized that this year when I was coaching in high school. Like, these kids don't like to coach.
Right.
Man, I mean, parents are involved, and everyone's telling them they're great. I remember, like I said, Lamar Dyson was the only guy I got along with, and I can remember to this day, they used to call me, teachers call me Total Control. And Lamar, I could always remember, I'm like, TC, Total Control, you ain't shit on a regular basis. If you tell the kid now that they can't play, man, they're going to leave your school,
right?
Transfer, they're going to go play for somebody else. So now, if you can't coach your kid, how they going to be better? And that's where the biggest problem. So if you look at some of these guys that had these big reps coming out of the city, and then they go to school, and you got to compete, you end up transferring because you're not used to somebody telling them, well, you're not good enough. You're not going to play because of who you are, and they're just not used to that, man. And that's why I mean, sometimes guys might be doing these kids a disservice. And I tell guys that I coach, listen, man, you're not impressing me, man. I've been played with and against some of the baddest motherfuckers ever did. So you're not doing anything I ain't never seen. You're not impressing me. So I come at it from a whole different standpoint. Like, listen, and I know we on Facebook Live, so hopefully not a whole lot of kids. I tell kids and I tell others, I said, I suck pussy, I don't suck dick. So like kids ain't used to being coached. And as I realized that it got worse and worse, I'm like, you know what? Basketball is a reflection of life, and life ain't easy. So if you don't take it easy on these kids, man, what are they going to do when they get in the real world? Because you're going to be a non-basketball player a lot longer than you're going to be a basketball player.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. Like, I'm on here with you today. People know me as Taj Child's father. They don't know me as a basketball player no more. And if you'd have told me that at 18, I'd be like, man, you got to get mine. Man. People won't remember what I put down. And in a couple of years from now, they're not even going to remember me as a coach because I'm not going to be coaching no more.
Right.
So it's what you're going to be as a man and how you're going to go about doing your business,
Yeah. I get into that with people when they talk about Tiny, and I'll be like, yo, he's my point guard. He was good. And they'd be like, he played?
Tiny played with the Sun Devils too. He played on the younger team.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, listen, Tone, appreciate having you, man.
I appreciate being on, man. There need to be a bigger platform like this for our guys, man. Because, I mean, and everybody says, guys that played before, oh, man, you couldn't play on time. And I'm not going to say that about these kids, but I just know that, I mean, that you got to kind of understand the history of New York City basketball to kind of rep it the right way.
Yes.
I mean, you got to respect. Like, I knew that there were guys like Darren Barnett, Tiny Archibald and all those guys. I'm like, man, listen, I'm not going out of town and get smashed because I'm desecrating the spirit of New York City
That's
basketball.
right. That's right.
You know, and I don't think these guys have that kind of pride because they just play so many games and the games don't mean anything anymore. Like, you know, like I'll give you a story before, you know, at Lock, we played in the Christmas tournament. And we won the first game, lost the second game, and the dudes in the locker like, man, we might as well go home. Like, hey, why we just stand around? What do you mean why we stand? We got a game to play, man. What are you talking about? I'm looking at them like, there's no fire, man. You know, and the kids that got fired, you see it, man. Yeah.
I just think we have so many things to build pride in New York City, like Go to Hoops, Wheelchair, Big Apple games, Empire State. There was so much competition within New York City that it made people better. And I think a lot of those programs don't exist anymore. I know they got the big corporations that come in and, you know,
but
do the summer league.
The program, like I talked about hybrids, man, like, you know, everybody in there, but you went out and played earlier today, but if you lost, you off the court. So I know we's out there, man. I'm like, listen, man, if you can't shoot, you better not shoot this ball for game because I'm going to break your hands, man, because I'm not trying to go home. You know, so the dudes that rebound, dudes that set screens, dudes that score, dudes that pass, because you wanted to be on the court. Now the dude lose. First of all, they outside playing anyway. And
right.
If you any good and you lose, they're going to pick you the next game. But back then, the next 5 was already picked. So if you lost, it's a wrap. And he got it. Like, that's how we learned how to play. We didn't learn how to play from coaches. We learned how to play from, but not wanting to lose. So, man, that's a bad shot. So I'm not going to take it because I got to go home because I'm like 6 games ahead of me. So that's a bad shot. So I'm not going to take it. Now, dudes is working on crossover, inside out, step back. 3. So I'm like, that's a bad shot, man. But they just don't.
Everybody got a trainer.
Oh, man.
No one's in the park competing. Everyone, you look online, everyone has a trainer. It's like, I'm a trainer, you're a trainer, be a trainer too.
Working on my game by myself, me and my brother.
Facts. And playing with the older guys, playing 21, playing knockouts.
And they don't play those kids. They don't play 21 no more. You know, you play the older guys, you go to the middle, and they lay your ass out. You're like, you know what? I got to give me a little floater, man, because that shit hurt. They don't have that. That don't happen anymore, man. You know, that don't happen anymore. You know.
Well, listen, we're gonna keep spreading the word, and I know when I go to these parks, I'm always telling these guys to compete and bring some of your friends out so you guys could, you know, get back to the basics. So,
definitely, I'll get you in contact with Dal Walker, man. If you want to get Gary Spring on here too, man, I'll reach out.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. And whatever you do, man, start mentoring some of these coaches, man. You know, they don't need your help.
People think they know everything, man. It's hard to mentor people. I mean, listen, I never turn down anybody that called me for advice. I mean, listen, I'm the king of putting people together, and young coaches call me. You know the coaches, man. I've been giving advice my whole career. When I got in the game, man, the only guy that was out there that was helping young black coaches was Eggman. Like, there wasn't guys that went through it that kind of helped you along. You had to I figured this shit out by trial and error, man.
Wow.
So I always told myself, I said, man, if anybody calls me, reach out, email, text, I always hit people back, man, because I know for a brother in this game, the only reason that we in this game, I hate using, I don't like to use the race card or Black Lives Matter, but because we know kids, the kids are comfortable with us. If they can go out and get these kids without us, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. So they're not going to help us.
That's true.
Think about this, man. You just looked at my resume, and I'm not a self-promoter. That's not something I've ever done.
No. It's real.
Resume, right? I was valedictorian, and an Ivy League dude. I only interviewed for 2 head coaching jobs in my career.
And the first one, you know, with Fran Fraschilla, you basically was going to bat for a kid, and he saw that.
I'm talking about head coaching jobs. I interviewed.
Okay.
And I interviewed at NJIT because the guy that was the AD was there started out with me in Manhattan. So you tell me with my background, my resume, and all this other kind of stuff that I can't be a head coach somewhere.
You should be.
But it is what it is. But I understand the nature of the beast. And that's what I try to explain to these young guys. Listen, man, don't get caught up in blowing your own horn and all this, man. Just keep your head down, grind it out. and work, man. And you know, and if it breaks right for you, because to tell you the truth, for a black assistant to get a head job, you have to be on the staff that makes them run in the NCAA tournament. So when these athletic directors who don't know black guys hire you, they can say he was the coach on the bench with Kentucky, or he was on the coach with so and so, because that helps them win the press conference. If not, they're not going to hire somebody that they don't know, especially if they don't know you. Because I said this on another podcast I was on. Athletic directors don't know black assistants, so they're not going to hire you. And if they do hire you, you got to help them win the press conference, because if it don't work, their job is gone. You know, and that's just the nature of the beast.
So, I know we're probably gonna run a little overtime, but what do you think about the kids who gotta go or who want to go to the historical black colleges?
I tell you the truth, my son was a senior at Loughlin this year. I'm sitting in the prep school. He's going to St. Thomas. I would want for him to go there. You know what I mean? I think he's a good player. My son's really good. He's much better than I was, believe it or not. But I think especially for kids, it's going to be one and done. I think it's a great look, just because you don't have to go to school. You're going to be one and done. But what ends up happening is everyone tells you it's going to hurt your career or the competition. Listen, man, you're only going to be in school for 6 months anyway. What competition? You're going to play 30-something games. So you mean 30-something games is going to make you from a top 5 pick to a second rounder? But that's the whole, that's the Jedi mind trick. You know what I mean? So.
Another question. Maurice Dobie. I grew up with his grandfather. Good kid. I watched that kid this summer score 18 points in a row.
Great kid. Drove me.
Hey, listen. Hold on. We're gonna come back. Because I gotta tell you this story. Right? This is the craziest shit I've ever seen. Alright, then we're gonna come right back. Bet. Now it's all good. So, like I was saying, I went out to Tillery Park. I went to go meet one of my guys over there. One of my guys was reffing, Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur Lee Walker,
okay, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So, yes, my guy. So I was going over to watch him ref, and so Maurice saw my guy, was talking to him. He was like, yeah, my grandson playing. It's like, okay, I know Shorty. So I'm watching the game. But the game got off to a hitch because they only had 4 players. So the clock was ticking. So for every minute, the other team got a point, 2 points. They start the game 16-0. I think there was only like maybe 10 minutes to go in the first half. So they played the first half, was down, came back. I think they only had like 5 players. Now, I don't care what level you on. Anyone who could score 18 points in a row.
Mo can put the ball in the basket, man.
Is official. And I watched that and I posted. I was like, yo, this kid is amazing.
He drove me crazy. As hell. Between him and my son, man. I mean, if I wasn't a drinker, I would have started this year messing with them too. But I mean, listen, but it goes back to, I mean, like, I had conversations with Mo during the season. I'm like, man, how good do you want to be? And I want to be great. I said, man, you got to work at it, man. Like, you can't come in here and, like, I don't feel like practicing today. You can't, mope around. I mean, like I said, and I told, because him and my son, I call them tall midgets. I said, man, y'all tall midgets, man. I said, so if people see any kind of chink in your armor, they're going to like, man, I can get that at 6'2". So you got to come with a whole different mindset, man. You can't, just because you're the best guy on this team or the best guy in the neighborhood, that don't mean nothing, man, if you're really trying to do this thing the right way. And, I mean, we struggled, and, like, me, him, and my son, we struggled, man, a lot. Like, I would cuss my son out every day. Like, I told you, little fucking ass, you can't play for me, And towards the end of the year, he started to play better. I mean, but the team just wasn't that good. It was Taj and Mo, and then a bunch of guys that couldn't make layups. Man, we missed 52 layups in one game. So that just tell you what the team like.
Wow.
In the paint. So, but I mean, at the end of the year, Mo was playing really, really high level, man. Like, he was playing really well. He actually kind of understood what I was trying to get him to do. And I was really just teaching him how to be a point guard. So listen, you can go get yours whenever you want, but you got to learn how to get other people off. I said, you know,
Right.
I said,
Definitely.
if somebody's
Definitely.
going to take you, they're not going to take you to score a whole lot of points at your size, man. So you got to be able to change the game with your speed. You got to be able to change the game on the defensive end, just being a pain in the ass, and you got to make guys want to play with you. You know? But he figured it out toward the end of the year. He tough. He tough. Drove me crazy.
Where's he gonna go to school?
I'm not sure, man. This whole pandemic, man, screwed up a lot of kids because we were so bad. A lot of guys didn't come out and see us. So it was going to be one of those things when the season was over with, guys were going to come by to open gyms and stuff like that, and we just never really had a chance for that. So I think Mo might either try prep school or like a Division II or something like that. You know, his family wasn't too happy with me because they didn't like the fact that I was coaching them. You know?
Man, listen, he needs to go to a place that's realistic for him and his playing style. Think about education first and go somewhere where he can make it his home.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You try to go somewhere where you think you belong and you go there and it can be very disappointing.
I tell people, man, go somewhere where you can have an impact, where you can fit in, and that's a good fit for you, man. You know, the worst thing in the world is going somewhere and not playing and being miserable. You know what I mean? You know, but you know, everybody has their dreams, man. So I'm definitely not going to be a dream killer, man. You know, I'm a dream helper.
Definitely. I'm just a realist. I like to tell people, you know, I remember when
it's only
what was his name? Isaiah Washington was going to Minnesota, and I was saying why, and I think people are looking at me crazy, and I think he's now transferring from Iona.
Yeah,
that I heard.
Yeah. And that's
tough,
that
man.
goes back to kind of what we talked about earlier with, you know, everyone thinking that he was great. He not really. I mean, not that he didn't get coached, but people put up with his shit. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the kid never been coached to where he didn't like something. If he didn't like it, he left. You know. Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely going to be promoting your name and telling God they need to holler at you, brother, because you got a world of knowledge. You made it through a real tough situation, right?
Yeah.
I think for most guys probably would have, you know, cowered or probably went another way, but you stuck it out, man, and salute to you, brother. I'm proud of you, man.
No, I appreciate it, but it's all about who you're around, man. Like, you know, and usually when I do these type of podcasts or interviews, I always big up my brother, man, because, you know, I think my brother's the smartest person I've ever been around in my life. Like, he could have done anything, and he's doing that now with Don Diva magazine, with his book that he has out, and he made it a point that I didn't have to go that direction. Like, he sacrificed his dreams in basketball, and because I mean, he was really, really talented. My brother was really, really talented, and he sacrificed a lot for me and my family. You know, I mean, he did what he did, and he did his time. But I mean, you know, and that's another thing. That nowadays, when you got guys like that, you know, everybody got a guy. Everybody got a guy in the hood. That's, you know, these guys don't look out for them. Like I grew up around gangsters, hustlers, and pimps. But when they was gangstering, hustling, and pimping, they made sure I did something else, you know, and because of that, I'm always forever grateful. And like I tell guys, I mean, you know, you got these guys, they hang out in strip clubs with these kids. But I was like, come on, man, what you doing, man? You doing what you doing, man. But these kids got a chance, man. You know, give them an opportunity to screw it up. You know what I mean? Let them screw it up on their own if they're gonna screw it up, man.
That's right. That's right.
That's my issue, kind of, man. And that's, you know, some got to change a little bit if we ever going to get back to New York City basketball being the way it used to be. But you know, it starts young, man. Starts young.
Yeah, man. We definitely got something in the works, man, and you know, could definitely use a brain like yours, man.
Like I said, man, I work for myself.
For sure.
I come in, I move how I want to move, man. And my biggest thing is, no matter what I'm doing, man, it's always going to be surrounded around helping kids, because I know if there wasn't a person like a Lamar Dyson or someone like that, I'd probably be dead. I'd really probably be dead. And people don't see that. They're like, I was determined, but I mean, I had a lot of bullshit with me. You know, I had a lot. I mean, you know, I'll get 97s, but I was doing a lot of bullshit I ain't had no business doing. And then these guys kind of, you know, always had me, you know, teetering on the fence, like, man, you know, you better not screw this up because it's gonna be hell to pay if it is. So I knew how far to go with it, you know. And I'm forever thankful to those guys, man. You know, the Walter Harrells of the world, Lamar Dyson's my brother, because if I didn't have positive guys. Even if they were doing negative things, they were positive for me. You know what I mean? And
Right.
They kept my head on the right way. You know, and that's pretty much what I've done my entire adult life, man. Just trying to help young dudes, man, and point them in the right direction. You know.
Yeah, I've seen your brother speak plenty of times at different interviews. Saw him on Flex, telling the story. I read about his story years ago, but also knew about you and what you were doing, man. This is our first time getting to chat, man. But it was definitely a pleasure talking with you, man.
Yeah, people amazed. We grew up in the same house, man, same parents, everything. They're like, man, how the hell did he go this way and he go that way? I said, man, listen, man. People make choices, but his choices were not made for him. His choices were made for family, man. So,
Right.
And it allowed me to make my choices and screw up and not have those type of situations where my screw ups would be something serious. You know, he allowed me to be a kid, a teenager, and chase my dreams, basketball and all that, man. And it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today. I know that for sure.
Well, definitely, man. Salute you, brother. I want to show you what my guy cooked up. Let me see.
Wow, that's dope. That's serious, man. I need that. Remember, put that right next to my. I'm gonna show you.
Yeah, no,
I'm gonna show you.
look, bro.
I'm gonna show you exactly.
If you can see,
and I'm gonna show you exactly where I put it from. To show you where I go home. You know, since we doing all that.
All right, bet.
I got this on my wall right here, and then this is a picture. This was on the back page of the Daily News when we won the city and state championship. My man did a depiction. Carey had a depiction in his office on top of everybody. That's Darryl Walker, Joe Moore, James Pryor. My whole
see that? That's dope. There you go.
So
wow.
Put it right next to that, man. Definitely, man. Definitely. No, that's dope.
For sure, man. I'll be hitting you up. I'll be hitting you up soon for all the technical stuff. So I can send it to you.
Anything I can do to help your platform and what you guys are doing, man, for the kids, man. Like I said, I'll get you with Darryl Walker, and I get up with Gary Springer. He'll be a good one, man, because he got the story.
For sure.
And his son's a one and done down in Tennessee, so he'll be in the league in about a year.
Oh man, that's awesome, right? This podcast started out as a high school podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was telling my partner, me and my partner were discussing together, like, you know, we can talk about the new guys in the new wave, but we need to build this platform on the people who build the foundation.
I'm a big,
you know what I'm saying? And then work our way back up.
I'm a big history buff, man, especially New York City basketball, man. Yeah.
Definitely, man. So we want to try to make all the connections and connect all the boroughs and give our people on Staten Island, even Long Island, some love, just to make sure we hold down New York.
Anything I can do to help, man, I'm there for sure.
All right, brother. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.